Hi, welcome to Myers ASMR. How are you? Hey, shake that stress off. Let it go, let it go, let it all go. Hey, did you know that your emotion in the moment is literally letting you know what pathway you're on? Yeah, your emotion in the moment is literally letting you know what pathway you're on. Well, I thought I was on the sweet and spicy nuggets pathway from Popeyes, but this is what I got. Doesn't look like sweet and spicy to me. But I'm gonna still enjoy them. Especially since I already had my own hot sauce. So I put it into this dish. So let's see how I'm gonna do this. Guess I'll put this here. So let's just have at it, right? Don't they look amazing? They give you some big pieces too. It's so good. This sauce is super hot, so I'm just putting a dab. Now I know I have to check my food before I leave. Check the bags. I thought they were gonna toss the tenders in the sauce. That's why I didn't bother to look. You know what? Looking at these, I think they gave me spicy tenders. I don't think she understood that I wanted them with the sweet and spicy sauce. Okay. I guess I don't eat there enough to specify that I wanted the sauce. These are so good. And even though I can see the cayenne, I don't find them that hot. Doesn't that look crazy good? You like my nail polishes, Opie? Opie lasts the longest. And it dries really fast. Marshall's has it for $5, which is a great bargain because it's about $10 or more in a regular store. I'm moving towards a gluten-free diet, so that's a new road for me. So good. You like my jacket? It's thrift. Why pay a lot if you don't have to, right? I think the word is out at work that I buy thrift because they know on that salary. Not just that, I mean, I openly brag. If somebody says they like my outfit or whatever, my shoes, my bag, I am proud to say it's thrift, baby. Because why pay a lot if you don't have to, right? When I was coming up, poor people used to brag about how expensive something they bought was. Everybody knew they were living in the projects and making minimum wage, but they would brag about buying a Gucci bag, working all week to buy a handbag or some sneakers. I mean, that's that poverty mindset that we need to get away from. And I'm almost certain their children or nobody they knew had a Roth IRA or a college fund. Priorities. None of the conversations ever mentioned saving up to buy a house or for retirement or getting a degree. It was all about sneakers. Get it together. Yeah, it's a little spicy. That was delicious. It was just enough food. It was just enough. This is tea with lime. I bought a bag of limes because I made a sorrel, which is this Jamaican hibiscus punch. I made that for Thanksgiving, so I still have all these limes left over. Well, it's time for the next fun part of the video, where I get to read a little bit from The Great Gatsby. This is actually a great book. I hear there's a movie. Hopefully it's on Netflix so I can check it out. Oh, who saw that movie? It Ends With Us with Blake Lively. So good, so good. That movie should be like required watching for maybe schools to teach about how to recognize signs. Not even sure where I left off here. Welcome or not, I found it necessary to attach myself to someone before I should begin to address cordial remarks to the passers-by. Hello, I roared, advancing toward her. My voice seemed unnaturally loud across the garden. I thought you might be here, she responded absently as I came up. I remembered you lived next door, too. She held my hand impersonally as a promise that she'd take care of me in a minute and gave ear to two girls in twin yellow dresses who stopped at the foot of the steps. "Hello," they cried together. "Sorry you didn't win." That was for the golf tournament. She had lost in the finals the week before. "You don't know who we are," said one of the girls in yellow, "but we met you here about a month ago." "You've dyed your hair since then," remarked Jordan, and I started. But the girls had moved casually on, and her remark was a jest to the premature moon produced like the supper, no doubt, out of a caterer's basket. With Jordan's slender golden arm resting in mine, we descended the steps and sauntered about the garden. A tray of cocktails floated at us through the twilight, and we sat down at a table with the two girls in yellow and three men, each one introduced to us as Mr. Mumble. "Do you come to these parties often?" inquired Jordan of the girl beside her. "The last one was the one I met you at," answered the girl in an alert, confident voice. She turned to her companion. "Wasn't it for you, Lucille?" "It was for Lucille, too." "I'd like to come," said Lucille. "I never care what I do, so I always have a good time. When I was here last, I tore my gown on a chair, and he asked me my name and address. Inside of a week, I got a package from Croyders with a new evening gown in it." "Did you keep it?" asked Jordan. "Sure I did. I was going to wear it tonight, but it was too big in the bust, and it had to be altered. It was gas blue with lavender beads, $250. "There's something funny about a fellow that'll do a thing like that," said the other girl eagerly. "He doesn't want any trouble with anybody." "Who doesn't?" I inquired. "Gatsby. Somebody told me." The two girls and Jordan leaned together confidentially. "Somebody told me they thought he killed a man once." A thrill passed over all of us. The three Mr. Mumbles bent toward and listened eagerly. "I don't think it's so much that," argued Lucille skeptically. "It's more that he was a German spy during the war." One of the men nodded in confirmation. "I heard that from a man who knew all about him, grew up with him in Germany," he assured us positively. "Oh no," said the first girl, "it couldn't be that because he was in the American Army during the war." As our credulity switched back to her, she leaned forward with enthusiasm. "You look at him sometime when he thinks nobody's looking at him. I'll bet he killed a man." She narrowed her eyes and shivered. Lucille shivered. We all turned and looked around for Gatsby. It was testimony to the romantic speculation he inspired that there were whispers about him from those who had found little that it was necessary to whisper about in this world. The first supper, there would be another one after midnight, was now being served, and Jordan invited me to join her own party, who were spread around a table on the other side of the garden. There were three married couples and Jordan's escort, a persistent undergraduate given to violent innuendo and obviously under the impression that sooner or later Jordan was going to yield him up her person to a greater or lesser degree. Instead of rambling, this party had preserved a dignified homogeneity and assumed to itself the functioning of representing the state nobility of the countryside, East Egg condescending to West Egg, and carefully on guard against its spectroscopic gaiety. "Let's go out," whispered Jordan, after a somehow wasteful and inappropriate half hour. "This is much too polite for me." We got up, and she explained that we were going to find the host. I had never met him, she said, and it was making me uneasy. The undergraduate nodded in a cynical, melancholy way. The bar, where we glanced first, was crowded, but Gatsby was not there. She couldn't find him from the top of the steps and wasn't on the veranda. On a chance, we tried an important-looking door and walked into a high Gothic library, paneled with carved English oak and probably transported complete from some ruin overseas. A stout, middle-aged man with enormous owl-eyed spectacles Rose was sitting somewhat drunk on the edge of a great table, staring with unsteady concentration at the shelves of books. As we entered, he wheeled excitedly around and examined Jordan from head to foot. "What do you think?" he demanded impetuously. "About what?" He waved his hand toward the bookshelves. "About that. As a matter of fact, you needn't bother to ascertain. I ascertain they're real. The books." He nodded. "Absolutely real. Have pages and everything. I thought they'd be a nice, durable cardboard. Matter of fact, they're absolutely real. Pages, and here, let me show you." Taking our skepticism for granted, he rushed to the bookcases and returned with volume 1 of the Stoddard Lectures. "See," he cried triumphantly, "it's a bona fide piece of printed matter. It fooled me. This fella's a regular Belasco. It's a triumph. What thoroughness, what realism. Knew when to stop to, didn't cut the pages. But what do you want? What do you expect?" He snatched the book from me and replaced it hastily on its shelf, muttering that if one brick was removed, the whole library was liable to collapse. "Who brought you?" he demanded. "Or did you just come?" "I was brought. Most people were brought." Jordan looked at him alertly, cheerfully, without answering. "I was brought by a woman named Roosevelt," he continued. "Mrs. Claude Roosevelt. Do you know her? I met her somewhere last night. I've been drunk for about a week now, and I thought it might sober me up to sit in a library." "Has it?" "A little bit. I think. I can't tell yet. I've only been here an hour. Did I tell you about the books? They're real. You told us." We shook hands with him gravely and went back outside. There was dancing now on the canvas in the garden, old men pushing young girls backward in eternal, graceless circles, superior couples holding each other tortuously, fashionably, and keeping in the corners, and a great number of single girls dancing individualistically or relieving the orchestra for a moment of the burden of the banjo or the traps. By midnight, the hilarity had increased. A celebrated tenor had sung in Italian, and a notorious contralto had sung in jazz, and between the numbers people were doing stunts all over the garden, while happy, vacuous bursts of laughter rose toward the summer sky. A pair of stage twins, who turned out to be the girls in yellow, did a baby act in costume, and champagne was served in glasses bigger than finger bowls. The moon had risen higher, and floating in the sound was a triangle of silver scales, trembling a little to the stiff, tinny trip of the banjos on the lawn. I was still with Jordan Baker. We were sitting at a table with a man of about my age and a rowdy little girl who gave way upon the slightest provocation to uncontrollable laughter. I was enjoying myself now. I had taken 2 finger bowls of champagne, and the scene had changed before my eyes into something significant, elemental, and profound. At a lull in the entertainment, the man looked at me and smiled. "Your face is familiar," he said politely. "Weren't you in the 3rd Division during the war?" "Why, yes, I was in the 9th Machine Gun Battalion. I was in the 7th Infantry until June 1918. I knew I'd seen you somewhere before." We talked for a moment about some wet, gray little villages in France. Evidently he lived in this vicinity, for he told me that he had just bought a hydroplane and was going to try it out in the morning. "Want to go with me, old sport, just near the shore along the Sound?" "What time?" "Any time that suits you best." It was on the tip of my tongue to ask his name when Jordan looked around and smiled. "Having a gay time now?" she inquired. "Much better." I turned again to my new acquaintance. "This is an unusual party for me. I haven't even seen the host." "I live over there." I waved my hand at the invisible hedge in the distance, and this man Gatsby sent over his chauffeur with an invitation. For a moment, he looked at me as if he failed to understand. "I'm Gatsby," he said suddenly. "What?" I exclaimed. "Oh, I beg your pardon. I thought you knew, old sport. I'm afraid I'm not a very good host." He smiled understandingly, much more than understandingly. It was one of those rare smiles with a quality of eternal reassurance in it that you may come across 4 or 5 times in life. It faced, or seemed to face, the whole external world for an instant and then concentrated on you. With an irresistible prejudice in your favor, it understood you. Just so far as you wanted to be understood, I believed in you as you would like to believe in yourself, and assured you that it had precisely the impression of you that at your best you hoped to convey. Precisely at that point it vanished, and I was looking at an elegant young roughneck a year or 2 over 30 whose elaborate formality of speech just missed being absurd. Sometime before he introduced himself, I had got a strong impression that he was picking his words with care. Almost at the moment when Mr. Gatsby identified himself, a butler hurried toward him with the information that Chicago was calling him on the wire. He excused himself with a small bow that included each of us in turn. "If you want anything, just ask for it, old sport," he urged me. "Excuse me, I will rejoin you later." Don't you just love good writing? So I'm just gonna place my bookmark so I know where to come back to. Remember that your emotion in the moment is literally letting you know what pathway you're on. Your emotion in the moment is literally letting you know what pathway you're on. Hey, if you like what I'm doing here, like and subscribe